On computer. Welcome to Hope Community Thursday night Healthy Living Inspirations. Welcome on Zoom. We have Ann, we have Jerry, we have Nancy, we have Pat, we have Vanessa, we have Anna or Ann. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight's title is going to be about inflammation. Inflammation, huh? Don't. Sometimes tomatoes do trigger inflammation. You have to know the difference. That is true. That is true. All right. Okay. So I had just hit recording. Now I'm going to hit the screen share. I'm going to go over to screen share, and I want you to tell me if you can see my slides. Woo-hoo. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, can you guys see my slides? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Wow, you can see my slides. That's amazing. All right, that is amazing. Let me see if I can turn my... All right. I wish you could see the class here tonight. It's awesome. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, raise your hand and say, welcome, welcome, welcome. First timers to the class. I might have a few first timers on the Zoom also. Yay. That is awesome, amazing, incredible. I've been working on keeping it to about 1 hour. On Thursdays, we talk about all kinds of things. We talk about health. We talk about living well, spirit, soul, and body. We're actually putting classes together to talk about how things that affect you spiritually affect you physically. That will be once a month. That will be called Fight for Your Fit. And then another one that Denise is helping me on is Beauty and Beyond. And that's about staying healthy with your home care, your skin care, your personal care products, things like that, that make a difference in your life. Why? Because God cares about us. He cares about us, spirit, soul, and body. And I think we have ignored some key components in our life way too long. And I think we're living in a time where God is emerging the spirit, soul, and body together for his divine purposes in the I would call the last days. The days in which we're living in, folks. So let's get started. Now I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask if you can still see my slides. Can you still see my slides? No. All right, hold on. I think what I have been doing in the past has, well, let's see how we can change this around. Going up here, finding my screen share here. How about now? Can you see it now? All right, fantastic, awesome. Inflammation is our title for this week. So inflammation is all about information. So inflammation can be a blessing or it can be a curse. You choose. How amazing is that? Cardiovascular disease is connected to chronic inflammation. Allergies connected to chronic inflammation. Eye disorders connected to chronic inflammation. Asthma, diabetes, breast cancer, lung cancer, arthritis, joint pain, obesity, psoriasis, injury, infection, colitis, Crohn's. Wow. That pretty much covers the gamut, doesn't it, of chronic diseases that we're faced with in this time. And so we see that inflammation plays a major role in all of these chronic diseases. So let's dive in, because I do have a few, let's see where my little thing is. I do have a few slides and information to cover. So balancing the inflammatory and anti-inflammatory forces, the blessing and the curse. See how God created the human body is that the human body actually has the ability to heal itself. Now, I don't think anybody in their right mind would disagree with that, right? So inflammation, let's establish this first and foremost. Inflammation actually is a blessing. Why is inflammation a blessing? Because inflammation is kind of like your fire department going to put out a fire because there's been an injury. So if you ever cut yourself, doesn't it get kind of red and irritated before it starts to heal? That is a proper inflammatory response to an injury. To set a fire, a localized physical condition in which part of the body becomes reddened, swollen, hot, often painful, especially as a reaction to injury or infection. So it's a natural part of the body repair system. So we shouldn't become excessively alarmed about, having an inflammatory response. What we need to become alarmed about is when that inflammatory response never shuts down. And it just responding and responding and responding. So anything that your doctor or in the medical profession ends in an itis, that means it's inflammatory. Arthritis, psoriasis, and just anything that ends in an itis, colitis, spondylitis. I'm gonna go over this and let you see that the inflammatory area that's chronically being inflamed is localized to that area, which gives it its disease name or its medical terminology. Every modern disease is affected by hidden inflammation. And if your immune system is depressed, how many here know that if somebody is depressed, they're not going to live up to their full potential, right? So that means they have something oppressing them, pressing them down from rising up and living their full potential. So the same thing with your immune system. If your immune system has been oppressed, that means your immune system is not going to actually be the checkpoint for the inflammatory system. So they work together as two wonderful twins, but they can become evil twins if they don't have the support system they need to check one another out. Heart disease, obesity, cancer, dementia. Dementia, yes, even mental health disorders of depression. I'm going to give you a slide showing you that even mental health disorders are from chronic inflammation. It's a normal response of our immune system, the response of tissue injury, infection. Inflammation is the body's attempt to self-protection. When you get a sunburn, is it not red? And sometimes if it's too much, it's blistery. It's causing a lot of the inflammation. All right. So that means the skin has been under attack. Aim to remove harmful stimuli, including damaged cells. So proper response to inflammation will go and clean up that injured area. It goes and cleans it up. It reestablishes a platform for your immune system to come in and rebuild healthy skin tissue in the case of a sunburn or in the case of cutting yourself and things like that. So in other words, inflammation has a job and a role that it plays to resolve a problem and injury. Now, how many here has ever been injured? Absolutely. If you live life, you have at some point been injured. I was somewhere yesterday And we were up in a condo on, I think it was the 3rd floor, but this beautiful lady, she's in Neil Life. She lives on the corner over the Bay Area, and the wind was coming through her back patio door. We had it open, and we went out the front door. And when she went to open the door, the suction slammed the door on her wrist. And I was like, it was very, very strong. She's, and I thought, oh my. But you know what? We went for a walk. We went down to her dock. And by the time we were walking backward, it had a big, huge blood bruise. She was bleeding. So we went back and put some salve on it, some aloe and some other things, and an ice pack on it, because the body was quickly responding to a smack injury on her wrist, but she could still move her wrist. She wasn't even in pain. So I said, take some salmon oil, take some CalMag, and sit down, relax, and put some ice pack. So from the irritants, the pathogens begin healing process, bring a resolve. So inflammation has a job. God designed it that way, to resolve a problem. Inflammation, life causes inflammation. Have you ever noticed that? Life itself, just like yesterday, we couldn't expect that front door, when we opened it, that it would slam. The suction of the air would be so forcible that it would slam. As she reached her hand around where there is fire, you call the what? Fire department. Now, does that mean that the fire department caused the fire? No, it just means that the fire department's there to solve a problem. The body's ability to put out fires of inflammation is incredibly amazing. Oxidative damage inside the body is the main factor causing the inflammation. This is where your antioxidants come in. This is where your immune system comes in. And our subject tonight is not about your immune system. It might be that next time, but tonight is about inflammation. But you can see how they balance one another. They work beautifully together. And if one is being oppressed or depressed, then the other one's not going to stay in check. If the body is out of essential nutrients, oh, there you go. The body cannot put the fire out. The tipping point, support the fire department of the body. So we have to actually engage in this life and give our body what it needs in order to call the fire department. And then once the fire is out, once the fire department does its job, it goes back to its station and rolls the door down, and everybody goes to sleep or makes dinner, right? But minerals like selenium and antioxidants are powerfully important to have in abundance in the body in order for this to happen. So as we see, fire filling stations, tissue insults. How about scar tissue? Scar tissue in the body, on the skin, inside the body can actually cause chronic inflammation. So you have to address that scar tissue. If you've had a surgery, I guarantee you've got scar tissue. If you have repeated damage on the inside of your body, I'll give an example of that is esophageal cancer. That is from the valve being destroyed from a deficiency in hydrochloric acid. And then suddenly you have all that hydrochloric acid coming up. The valve quits working because it can't close unless the stomach acid is a 2.5 or less. And then all of a sudden you've got scar tissue because it's repeated burning. And so that tissue around the valve in your esophagus gets raw and gets inflamed, and it stays raw and it stays inflamed unless you address the issues. And with that scar tissue, if it's not properly addressed with your nutrients, and then you take care of the antagonist, then that scar tissue will eventually turn into irregular cells. And how many of you know what an irregular cell multiplication is? That's the C word. So gastrointestinal diseases are the same thing, because a lot of your tissue that you have in your stomach, your lining of your esophagus, is actually the lining, oh my goodness, is the lining of your intestines also. And so it's the same principle of the gastrointestinal disease. Well, what are some of the triggers? Sugar, white flour, and dairy. Oh my. Rancid oils, don't buy nuts out of a can, and seed oils are some of your major triggers for this chronic inflammation. Anti-inflammatory medications, you do what? Anti-inflammatory medications can cause chronic inflammation? Yes. How about NSAIDs, pain meds? Those all can actually trigger an inflammatory response that will keep it coming, keep it going. Acetaminophen, Tylenols, and aspirins, because it's a constant irritant to the liver. And stress. Now, how many here live a stress-free life? Born free. Oh no, nobody here lives a stress-free life. Oh my goodness. So that means that every day we have a battle. And that battle is to help balance the inflammatory response, and calling out the fire department, and then telling the fire department, thank you for your services. It's time to go home. Body's response. When something harmful or irritating affects part of our body, there's a biological response to try to remove it. These signs and symptoms are inflammation, especially acute. Now, difference between chronic and acute. Acute is sudden attack. And that's fine, because especially if you've had a sudden cut or blow to your wrist or hand or anything like that. I twisted my ankle a few months back, and let me tell you, it didn't take but a few minutes for my ankle to respond with the inflammatory, and it began to swell, and then the swelling became so tight I couldn't move it, and then my body was like, okay, you're going to be off your left foot for a while, and I was. Inflammation does not mean infection. It doesn't mean infection. So we need to actually be conscious about inflammation's job and how it works in the body, and not be afraid. Oh my goodness, it's getting red. What do I do? Let it do its job. And the only time that we need to be concerned is if it becomes chronic. So then you become acute. Acute is normal. Acute is a normal body response, but chronic is where you get the crying problems that's happening. When an infection causes inflammation, infection is caused by a bacterium, virus, fungus. Inflammation is the body's response to it. So for instance, if you have a fungus in the body, a lot of times this will manifest through skin issues, psoriasis, seborrhea, you know, a lot of the skin issues is chronic inflammatory, usually because the gut's out of whack and it's manifesting through the skin. Because your skin is a large detox organ. Antagonists, steroids can cause inflammation. That's why they say if you're on a regular dose of steroids, you might as well cut your lifespan short. And you might as well schedule your hip replacement surgery or your knee replacement surgery, because that's what steroids, chronic use of steroids do. Leaky gut is fairly new phenomena, and it's been traced back to glyphosate. It's been traced back to genetically modified organisms. It's been traced back to fast food. It's been traced back to the types of foods that are causing leaky gut. And the number one foods that cause leaky gut are the glyphosates. And where do you see the glyphosate sprayed on? It's grains. So, oh my goodness. So as many people die from anti-inflammatory drugs as from asthma or leukemia. What? You mean the anti-inflammatory drugs that they're going to give you for psoriasis or for these inflammatory issues, you're more likely to die from the use of the drugs than from asthma or leukemia. Why would you need an anti-inflammatory drug if your body makes its own anti-inflammatory agents? You just need to pay attention how God created it and let it run smoothly. Let it run its course smoothly. It's your stress gland that makes you anti-inflammatory. Adrenals, oh my goodness, there's where you kick in that stressor, because adrenals are a hormone that is pumped under chronic stress times or acute, either way. Your body's actually programmed beautifully to excrete a lot of adrenal under acute stress. Let's say that I heard a story today as I was baking the food about a gentleman who had had a car wreck, and he was actually pronounced dead by the medics that came by. But a pastor drove up, and the Lord spoke to that pastor and said, "Get out and pray for that man." And they said, we're going to put a sheet over him. He's dead. He said, "I'm going to pray for him." And he began to pray for him. And he said, "I have a pulse. I have a pulse." And they said, "Oh no, he's been dead for 90 minutes. He cannot have a pulse." And they said, "We're not going to listen to you. We're going to just haul his body out." He literally laid in the road and said, "You're not picking this body up till you come over here and pay attention." They went over and they checked. He had a pulse. And so the man's story, he's written a book, he's all over the internet telling his story and how he died for 90 minutes and how this pastor come on. Now, that was a surge of adrenaline that pastor stopped. The pastor got out, ignored what the medical professionals were saying to him, laid in the middle of the road and said, "I have an unction and I got some adrenals pumping. You're not going to advance until you check his pulse." And what was so interesting about that story was the fact that everything that pastor prayed over him, let there be no damage over, let's say, his kidneys. I know he said, let there be no damage over his brain. There was no damage over the areas that pastor prayed over him. There was damage in other areas. Hey, a note about prayer, but there was no damage in this man over the specific areas that this pastor prayed. Why would you need an okay, so it's so you get to the root of the infection. Bacteria, is it a bacteria? Is it a parasite? Is it a gluten intolerance? What is antagonizing you? Obviously, if a food hurts you, stop hurting yourself by eating it. I'm going to repeat that one more time. If a food is hurting you, stop eating that food that is hurting you. And tomatoes may be just fine for Lake, but it might not be fine for Debbie over there. You know, tomatoes may be an antagonist for you. So therefore, you have to know your body. You have to be in tune with your body and know and understand what the difference is. And you have to get to the root of it. Relax, strengthen the gut, calm down, relax your immune system. So in other words, remember, your immune system kicks in to call off the fire department and bring in the builders of repair. The reconstruction crew is what the antioxidants do. And they make the correct distinctions, proper decisions. They stop being inundated by so many bad things, attacking it all the time. They remove the antagonizer, then apply nutrients to allow it to heal. And pretty much that's what I do with all my consultations. Okay, let's identify, let's trace the root. Is what's going on here a parasite? It's what's going on here a chronic bacteria? Is it a fungus? Is it a exposure to microtoxins, chemicals? What is going on here? You know, so we can address the core root issues and then remove the antagonizer and then come in and bring the application of the support to your immune system. So just an idea, bronchitis is a chronic inflammation. Ingrown toenails, sore throat, flu, Appendicitis is chronic inflammation. Dermatitis, tonsillitis, meningitis, sinusitis. So all these itises, all right, are chronic inflammation. How about a few more? Asthma, peptic ulcers, tuberculosis, Crohn's disease, hepatitis. All these are actually part of rheumatoid arthritis. And there's different kinds of arthritis. All they're saying here is that some of the arthritis is attacking in chronic inflammation in the bone area. Some of it's in the tissue around the bone. So they identify it and they give a terminology according to what directed area the inflammation is about. So here you go. Celiac disease, there's an inflammation and destruction in the lining of the small intestines. Crohn, it's usually in the very small, in a specific area of the small intestines. Fibromyalgia, it's usually an autoimmune rheumatoid arthritis in the different various parts of the tissue of the body. Graves' disease is a chronic inflammatory attack of the thyroid. And pulmonary fibrosis. Fibrosis means scar tissue, by the way, is in the lungs. Lupus is in, and lupus can travel around the body because it can be a chronic inflammatory issue of lungs, heart, kidney, skin, psoriasis, skin, arthritis, joints, or tissue. How about diabetes? Diabetes is very, very destructive. And the number one reason why it's very destructive is because it causes so much inflammation. And it's chronic inflammation. And it's all over the body. It's from the brain to the big toe. And this is why that, type 3, they're calling type 3 diabetes is Alzheimer's, dementia. And this is why they start cutting off the toes, because the inflammation is destroying your cardiovascular system. It's very destructive to tearing things down, and it's chronic and chronic and chronic. So how about Addison's? Addison's is something that actually is a chronic inflammatory response in the adrenals. And let me tell you, if your adrenals no longer produce adrenals, you're not going to be alive, because your adrenals are who you are. They get you up in the morning. They actually activate the rest of your hormones. And they actually, when your adrenals are gone, you're gone. Vasculitis is your chronic inflammation in the blood vessels. So we've seen this happen with the blood vessels, arteries, veins. What is myocarditis? All right, something that we just now heard about because of something, shot, and shooting. And so, because it's a chronic inflammation, and that chronic inflammation is causing scar tissue. And there's absolutely nothing they can do about myocarditis, chronic inflammation in the lining of the heart that causes scar tissue. There's absolutely nothing humanly they can do. Allergies, asthma. How about vitamin A? They found out a deficiency in vitamin A actually causes the inflammatory fire department to not leave its post and for chronic inflammation to continue. So vitamin A is really, really important. And we get vitamin A not only through carrots, but we actually get vitamin A through fish. Haddock and haddock liver of the vitamin A and vitamin D. Where's another place we get vitamin A? We get vitamin A from butter. Everything's better with butter on it. The banana nut bread that I made with some blueberries in it, nuts. I whipped up some Chile honey that I got from great grass-fed butter that's up here. Because your body needs vitamin A, not just for your eyes, but for your skin, and it plays a part in helping to reduce inflammation in the body. And by the way, Neolife has one of the best vitamin A's. How about anti-inflammatory? We're going to talk a little bit about some formulas and some herbs that actually are anti-inflammatory. Boswellia. That actually is an Indian tree, frankincense. We've all heard about the power in the Bible of frankincense and how it's an anti-inflammatory and a healer. Well, Boswellia is a part of the frankincense tree. You'll find that in our full motion. And this is why our full motion has a group of herbs that calms down inflammation and helps to actually go in and rebuild cartilage and tissue around the joints. Bromelain. You'll actually find bromelain in almost all of the Neolife products because it's an enzyme. It's a living, amazing enzyme that helps the body to not only digest food, but it actually, if you remember the class I did on those amazing enzymes, the miracle of enzymes, they do a lot. They do amazing things from regulating your immune system to regulating your inflammatory responses. They're amazing. And how about flavonoids? Flavonoids, they found that they actually play a part, especially the EGCG that's found in green tea. They play a part in repairing the damage of the DNA that's done during chronic inflammation. And I love this because in Hawaii, they actually call pineapple pain apple because the core is what has the bromelain in it. And the core, we usually throw the core away. And yet they gnaw on the core and they juice the core because they know that's where your most intense bromelain is. And that is a natural anesthetic, meaning your natural pain reliever. Wow. And it not only does that, it breaks up scar tissue. So in other words, you want to put nutrients in the body that's going to break up that scar tissue from past surgeries or chronic inflammation that's caused scar tissue. Ginger root. I love the ginger root. Deborah has some wonderful ginger root growing. Maybe she'll bring us some roots next time and we all can start growing our own ginger root. I love the ginger root because it's highly medicinal. You can grate it, you can boil it, make your teas, tinctures with it, grate it, put it in your water through the day with some lemon, drink it. Ginger was found to reduce the markers of colon inflammation, and even in some studies may help prevent colon cancer. Ginger. So you're going to flavonoids plays an amazing part. Full Motion has the Boswellia and other wonderful herbals that are anti-inflammatory in it. How about turmeric? Ooh, turmeric. A lot of studies have really been presented about the amazing properties that turmeric have. A plant of the did you know that turmeric is a part of the ginger family? And a current research is looking into the beneficial effects of turmeric in treating arthritis and Alzheimer's. Recent studies has revealed that curcumin acts like a molecular kill switch to inhibit inflammatory process at its very core. So you want to hit the target with turmeric. And when you combine the turmeric, you can buy this in roots, do the same, grate it, juice it, boil it, make your tea. Oh, yes, because they're curcumin. All right, this actually I got from an herbalist at the downtown market here in Lakeland. And it's called golden milk, and you usually heat up an almond milk or a coconut milk, and you just put a tablespoon in there. It's actually wonderful, and it has in it the curcumin. It's got turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, and white pepper. And so, I mean, this is a delightful drink. And you can buy it right there in our downtown market from Our Lady that sells the herbs. I love it. And a little bit goes a long ways. It really does. Curcumin. Now, curcumin happens to be the active part of the turmeric. Curcumin hits the target in the chemical chain reaction of chronic inflammation, and it works the same pain receptors targeted by what? Opioid drugs. Wow. Curcumin puts out the fire of inflammation and silences pain. Guess what? They knew that. Our amazing scientists in Neolife knew this. This is why they formulated glucose balance with turmeric, the activated curcumin, and their therapeutic amounts. The amounts, that means they actually have the amounts that actually make a difference in their clinical studies. And so, and they're active. When you buy all this stuff out here on the shelf of all these stores, you're getting, God only knows what you're getting. The studies have shown, the lab reports have shown you're getting nothing. But in order for it to work, it has to be a bona fide product. It has to be a bona fide herb, and it has to have the active ingredient in it, and it has to have a therapeutic amount of that active ingredient. And I'm so happy to say that Neolife provides that. It's quite amazing. So taking a look at this, then the fish oil. Fish oil is an amazing anti-inflammatory property. Scientists, from Ohio State University Center for Clinical and Translational Science report a study of brain behavior and immunity that the daily consumption of fish oil omega-3 reduce both inflammation and anxiety. This is why when somebody calls me and they're having lots of depression or anxiety, or they got ADD, ADHD, or anything on those spectrums, I always share they desperately need omegas. And another one is green tea. Why? Because we talked about that EGCG, which is that active antioxidant. And it also has quercetin. The flavonoids have quercetin in them. And so quercetin, a lot of studies have been done on the quercetin, but research from Institute for Women's Health and Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center found that regular green tea drinking enhances bone health, reduces inflammation in postmenopausal women. Oh my goodness. So the benefits of green tea. And of course, our Neolife tea has the therapeutic amounts of EGCG in it. And it's got the green tea, black tea, and white tea. And I love our Neolife tea. Magnesium is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Why? Because, well, I don't know about you, but I do a lot of work, and I carry my stress from my neck, from my shoulders to my neck up. So I need to go see my doctor that does a checkup from the neck up, right? And her name is Dr. Deborah. But she helps relieve, and then we go see massage therapist Mary, and she knows how to work out those knots. You can see in this picture here that when these muscles begin to create tension because of a deficiency in magnesium and nutrients and an over antagonist, I don't know, when you're chopping, using your muscles constantly, I don't know about you, but if I'm stressful, I tend to draw my shoulders up. Where we're going to work out, they tell you in the videos continuously, pull those shoulders back, pull those shoulders back. And, you know, are those shoulders begin to draw up into your ear? Yeah, they're up in my ears. Okay, pull those shoulders down. And magnesium is what helps to relax my muscles so it can do that. It's one of the most versatile, abundant, essential minerals in the body. It plays an essential role in more than 700 biochemical reactions that power every cell, every organ, every system of the human body. Magnesium is involved in reactions that generate cellular energy from breakdown protein, manufacture and metabolize protein hormones, regulate gene expression, controls muscle tension. So if somebody is just uptight, pop a couple of salmon oil in the mouth and a couple of magnesium. I've been able to help people stop a full-blown anxiety attack in the middle of an anxiety attack by doing that. We absolutely depend on magnesium for life, but unfortunately, most people don't get enough of this vital mineral. In fact, the USDA says 75% of Americans are deficient. Wow, this epidemic of magnesium deficiency is causing problems. It's causing a lot of problems. So if you want to introduce somebody into Neolife, just and they don't want to hear a bunch of, you know, the health pack about this and the health pack about that, just introduce a magnesium to them. They'll call you up and say, that was the best 20 bucks I ever spent. I'm sleeping better. I can now pull my shoulders down away from my ears. You know, I mean, you're more relaxed. You can actually handle stresses better. And it's an anti-inflammatory. Magnesium will put out fires, help your joints run smoothly, because as Mary taught, as a massage therapist, she knows that when those muscles and tendons become very tight around your joints, that is an automatic indicator you're going to have chronic inflammation. So reduce inflammation in the joints, break up scar tissue, and rebuild cartilage. Oh my, we've helped people to cancel specific appointments for replacements because they've listened to us, they've got on some of these menus, and they've done phenomenal. And of course, emotional stress, like I said, life itself is inflammatory. Welcome to the inflamed, infernal planet Earth. Psychological stresses in the form of panic attacks, rapid pulse, or night sweats is a sign of there's that adrenals, cortisol drips, prompted inflammation. Cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. The one that kicks from the adrenal glands when a threat is perceived, it results in dilated blood vessels that forced blood to your organs in preparation of an attack. This fight or flight response becomes a normal state during times of persistent stress. But chronic inflammation occurs when your immune system and adrenals are on overdrive. I meet people all the time, and they're actually, you wouldn't believe how many people have PTSD because they're running on these adrenals because of something that traumatic that happened to them in childhood, chronic stress. So we have to go in and support the body's natural systems to calm things down, relax, and stop the cycle of the adrenals dripping the cortisol. If you're waking up at 2 a.m., if you're waking up at 3 a.m., and it's not because you got the alarm going off because the Holy Spirit's telling you to get on your knees and pray, then it's most likely an adrenal drip that's occurring during that time. And we need to address it because it's disturbing your sleep, it's disturbing your REM sleep, and it needs to calm down and be regulated. Physical stress. Also, if you have exerted a lot of physical stress, the body reacts in a similar manner as mental stress. Take a hypoglycemic low blood sugar attack, for example. The panic attack of the body will trigger an immune response, and chronic inflammation may cause your intestinal tract to go off balance, your skin to break out in hives, hello, somebody, and your body to literally shut down. Once restored, though, this is the beautiful thing about God's creation. He always gives us a solution. He always gives us an answer. He creates his creation with the ability to heal itself, to restore, to bounce back, recover, restore, regenerate. I love that. Once you restore nutrients, electrolytes, and sustenance of the body, things will then return to normal. You can't stop all those stressors that hit you, especially sometimes when they're hitting you all at one time, but you can fortify yourself and be able to recover quickly from it, bounce back, rather than going down that downward spiral into that trap and that pit. I love our Elevate because it has the electrolytes. I love the Elevate because it has the amino acid suntheanine in it. And suntheanine is an amino acid that actually helps to boost your dopamine levels. And your dopamine are your happy dolphins that actually gives you a sense of well-being. Oh my goodness. I'm used to stressors, triggering my thoughts and my jitters. And yet when you're drinking this, you're getting a calm sense of well-being, focus, and clarity of the brain. And I tell you, when I got up this morning, I had me a glass of Elevate because I knew all I had to get done today. And I knew that it was going to assist my body with the electrolytes I needed and that suntheanine to calm things down so I could pace myself and be late again tonight. So, digestive issues. Did y'all catch that? Digestive issues. Because chronic inflammation originates in the digestive system, how many people here take their stress in their stomach? We're going to be covering that more and more in our Fight for Your Fit class. But a lot of people, they actually are attacked through mental and emotional stress through their stomach, their digestion. And it makes sense that digestive turmoil may actually be a source of inflammation itself. Oftentimes, a simple anti-inflammatory diet, one high in essential fatty acids, we talked about the salmon oil, probiotics, digestive enzymes. I love the Neolife digestive enzymes, has all of the family of enzymes in it. And daily exercise will help balance the intestinal tract and get it up working again. We're going to dive deeper into this at another class, but I love the aloe vera. Why? Because it's a de-stressor. It calms the digestive system. You sip on that aloe vera, those polysaccharides just flow from the throat all the way into your stomach, your small intestines, your large intestines. It's healing from the mouth to the other end. It's quite amazing. It also has some electrolytes in it. It also has EGCG in it. It's got a little bit of honey crystals in there, and it also has a calming herb called chamomile. So it's very calming. Yes.
Are you referring to the aloe vera or the enzyme?
Aloe vera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the aloe vera, the drinkable, amazing aloe vera. When I have to meet a flight or travel, and we got to be on a plane at 5 a.m., believe me, I am downing a couple of ounces of aloe vera before, and I'm taking it with me because I have suffered in the past from some severe chronic colitis type issues in my intestines because as a child, I took all my stress in my gut. And so to calm that down, I've learned to take the calcium, the magnesium, the CalMag-D and the magnesium, and the salmon oil and the aloe vera, calming all of that down. And of course, we all know that a poor diet is not going to boost your immune system, and it's not going to regulate your inflammatory index. It's actually going to be a force of pushing you in the direction of chronic disease. When we eat a meal that's particularly poor, our digestion says, what did you just put inside of me? Us need to put, then your body actually requires more nutrients to bounce back and the counter attack. This most often occurs as we rely on sugary and processed or fast foods as a main staple of our diets. When the metabolism and GI tract are overworked, chronic inflammation often results. I've been getting several calls in the last couple of weeks with a lot of gastritis, colitis, Crohn's, gastroparesis, all of those issues that because especially if you don't have a gallbladder. If you don't have a gallbladder, you're driving inflammation in the liver and in the pancreas. And you've got to assist your body with those enzymes. Insulin levels, we talked about that already, but the medical community has also linked insulin and glucose levels to chronic inflammation. Obese individuals are prone to developing type 2 diabetes, often have issues with chronic inflammation. Food allergies, again, if a food is an antagonist to you, it might be a blessing to somebody else, but it may be an antagonist to you. Leave it off the menu for right now. Keep a food journal. Do an elimination diet. I don't have time to get into that right now, but it's always good to do a fast and then do a process of an elimination diet. Specific food allergies will trigger specific inflammatory responses. For me, it's dairy. Dairy, oh my goodness. Or gluten. And we have a lot of gluten sensitivities, and it's because we messed with the wheat. So we changed its chromosomal structure. And when you change the chromosomal structure of the wheat, it actually has the gluten actually is worse than sugar because it stretched out and it multiplied the amount of gluten. It threw the balance of nature out of balance. So you have more gluten than what's in a healthy, what God created wheat. So then the body has to digest that, and it has to go all through these processes to try to digest the wheat now. So if you're sensitive, do an elimination diet, do a fast, reintroduce it. And when you reintroduce it, reintroduce a pure form of it, like iron corn or spelt, which are original wheats. The only way inflammation can be soothed is by cutting allergens out of the diet. You can take a probiotic. That actually helps that gut flora bacteria to regain its balance and have healthy digestion. Hormones, oh my goodness, yes. Women with hormonal imbalances, I can almost guarantee you there has been a chronic inflammatory issue going on. Inflammation has also been linked to unbalanced levels of certain hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Where are we finding these hormones? They're found in the environment. They're found in what we call xenoestrogens, which is synthetic estrogens. And they're bombarding the body, and they're throwing the receptors, the cell receptors and communication of hormone way out of balance. And you got osteoporosis, you got weight gain, you got adult acne going on. All of these things because of a chronic inflammatory response that's throwing all of your hormones. In this case, you need to detox and you need to clean up some of the areas of your diet so you're not getting a lot of these synthetic type hormones in your daily consumption of food. Avoid plastics as much as possible. Use glass, use anything other than plastics. Chemicals, oh my goodness, can cause chronic inflammation. Maybe it's your workplace. Maybe it's where you live. If you live on a golf course and they go out there and they make that old green golf course so pretty and green, that's because they're spraying it with chemicals all the time. And you're breathing in those chemicals. Air fresheners, get rid of the air fresheners, get rid of the dryer sheets, get rid of the toxic laundry soaps, get rid of how many here saw a warning on some product that said it was the finest aloe gel on the market, now has a recall because it has methyl alcohol in it that's causing liver problems and can even actually kill you if you use it on your hands. Oh my goodness, particularly if chemicals are airborne, because if they're airborne, it's within a few seconds that they're immediately on the brain. If you smell it, it's already landed on the brain. So if you ingest it, though, it's going to go through a filter system called your intestines, called your liver, your pancreas, and your kidneys, and it can actually do some filtration. Even low chemical exposures can exist at home, at work, in the air we breathe, the water we drink, prompting chronic inflammation. Always make sure your water you're drinking is pure water. Don't be drinking water with chlorine. Don't be drinking water with fluoride. Those are two major inflammatory antagonists. Trigger foods may prompt your body to become inflamed. Seed oil, safflower, sunflower, corn, soy, peanut that contain high levels of linoleic acid often cause an inflammatory response. Diets that are high in carbohydrates may fuel inflammation. A lot of people are carb intolerant. I have been that way. If I consume a lot of carbs, now I made our banana bread with half and half, 50% almond flour and the other 50% iron corn flour, which is the original. So I made the oil in there's butter and then your spices. And then I used a little bit of stevia for sweetener in there and my bananas and blueberries. So if you just kind of adjust your cooking, adjust your diet to where you're not inundated with so much. I mean, crackers, believe it or not, have all these seed oils in it. I was where I was at yesterday. As a matter of fact, the lady was bringing me her box of cookies that she liked. And I said, let's read the ingredient list. And on that ingredients was the seed oils, which I knew causes an inflammatory response. Pay attention to what you eat and how it affects your body. God wants us, he doesn't want us to go through life blind, deaf, and dumb. He wants us to be awake and aware. And he wants us to take action, shine a light, be a difference maker so that we can guide others to do the same. Your brain, new research shows all brain problems are caused by what? What? You mean? It's not my DNA. It's not my daddy's DNA and my mama's DNA. No, it's your own lifestyle. It's your own personal lifestyle causing chronic inflammation. But did you know that there are viruses that we can actually come in contact with? And here's a virus found in the limbic system of emotional center of the brain. They say that 30% of the population has this, which causes depression. Just like ulcers are caused by a bacteria, not stress. And this is why when they ulcers, let me explain this. Why they say that ulcers is caused by stress is because stress will shut down your hydrochloric acid manufacturing of your stomach acids. And if your stomach acids are shut down, then your stomach lining cannot regenerate itself every 24 hours. And therefore, the lining gets eaten away and bacteria that normally would flush through sets up home because they're opportunists. So treat the body with care and fix your brain, fix your gut, fix your brain, fix your gut, fix your brain. Oh my goodness. So as goes your gut, will go your brain. So, and this is all well known when you study the autism spectrum and what's happening there. A woman has written the book about the gut because it's all what is happening, that gut bacteria that's driving a lot of those behaviors. So you've got children and elderly alike that have unusual behaviors or behaviors that are unexplainable with depression or anxiety or sporadic or bipolar. Actually, this study was actually linked to studying bipolar, showing that there's actually a chronic inflammation going on here, which allows that virus to have a home, in the brain. Bornavirus, a unique type of non-segmented negative strand envelope RNA virus, causes behavioral diseases in higher vertebrates. Yeah. Past studies have found antibodies in animals, human psychiatric patients. It's one of the, and they're now realizing it's in the environment. So it's all these chemicals we're coming in contact with in the environment that's causing this to cause depression and illness in man. So never judge a person. Don't just say, just pray more and read your Bible more. We're a complex being, spirit, soul, and body. You don't know what might have been going on that, people go into depression from smelling a dryer sheet. Did you know that? Think about this. Did you know that you can lift a mood by peeling an orange in front of someone? The citrus oil. You let that pop, 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 that oil just pop as you peel that orange back. Somebody that is a little bit down and depressed, go peel an orange and underneath their nose and let them breathe deep that aroma of the citrus. And let me tell you, and then do a test. Let them sniff a dryer sheet and watch how they get depressed or anxietal, or all of a sudden they're going into bipolar on you. I'm serious. This is real stuff. Connected. Everything in the body is connected, and there's only a few causes of inflammation. Inflammatory diet, allergy foods, delayed reactions. Give your body a break. Fix your gut. Fix your brain. How to cool the fire inside of you. Learn how to live an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. That's what we do here every Thursday evening. Fire smolders your organs, sends you out of control. There's songs written on that one. Identify your triggers. Help the body reset the immune system. We'll talk in another class about how to boost that immune system. Eat a whole foods, real food diet. Put more real food, human food into your body and not the fake food. Healthy oils. We just saw the unhealthy oils that trigger inflammation. Healthy fats, high in phytonutrients. And then exercise. Part of that exercise is you're releasing cortisol properly. You're releasing adrenaline properly. You get out and get the sunshine, or you get in an infrared sauna. Either way, you're releasing the toxins. It's amazing. So counterattack: turmeric, salmon oil, broccoli, blueberries, green tea, kelp, shiitake mushrooms. By the way, there's shiitake mushrooms in my dish here tonight that we grew. Did any of y'all get a bite of it?
Yeah, I thought it was eggplant.
It was shiitake mushrooms that we grew. Yes. Systematic enzymes, proteolytic protein, digestive enzymes will eat up strings of inflammation and scar tissue. So make sure you take some of the enzymes with your meals, and not only to digest your food, but it goes in the body and it actually eats up and breaks down scar tissue. Nutrients to either boost or calm inflammatory reactions. We've talked about them. Whole food nutrition, phytonutrients, omegas, probiotics, vitamins and minerals, and antioxidants. Love it. Start with our carotenoids. That's how we boost our immune system with our phytonutrients, assist in healthy levels of immune cell activity, powerful antioxidants, 7 dark colored fruits and vegetables, 15 families, 600 members, clinically proven, clinically shown, billions of dollars spent on this research. It took them 17 years to give us this amazing formula, and nobody even comes close out there in the marketplace. Carotenoids showing a baseline of 37% boost in immunity in less than 3 weeks. Quite amazing, amazing, amazing. Believe me, if you're battling a chronic disease, you want these carotenoids on your side. Next is omegas. Where are you going to find omegas? Most omegas are rancid oils that's been extracted from a hoodoo whatever fish and off Peru, and it's extracted through heat. It's extracted through chemicals. So you want something that you can trust that actually has been tested clinically on humans to show an anti-inflammatory property. Omega-3 supports healthy immune response, and guess what? Reduction of inflammation, 68% in less than, I think, 8 weeks. Showing here all 8 omegas in their proper ratios. They call that molecular differentiation process. It's proprietary to Neolife, guaranteed potency, healthful salmon dinner worth of omega-3s. In fact, it's equal to you having a 4-ounce fillet of salmon for dinner every night. Amazing, clinically shown. As a matter of fact, it's the only omega that's been clinically shown in clinical human trials to show this reduction of inflammation. Amazing. Then your probiotics, because remember, you want to address the gut health. Probiotics boost immune resistance, produce antibiotic substances, and discourage growth of potentially harmful bacteria. So you want to keep those guys in check in the gut because they're constantly being challenged. Because if you're eating things that's been sprayed with glyphosate, they're being challenged. If you're eating GMOs, they're being challenged. If you're eating sugar, they're being challenged. If you're eating carbs, a lot of carbs, they're being challenged. So we are constantly in a fight to be fit. And our acidophilus, I love our probiotics here at Neolife because we are we're enteric coated, target loaded. So in other words, you're going to actually get those 5 strands of 5 billion of those probiotics because they've been fed prebiotics in the capsules. They're enteric coated, so they're not going to dissolve in the stomach with the stomach acids. They're going to travel down through your gut and be delivered like a special UPS truck in the specific regions of your intestines. Amazing. Gel Guard technology. Hey, it's exclusive to Neolife. Next is garlic allium. Why? Because garlic, the studies on garlic are amazing for anti-inflammatory. And your garlic needs to also be enteric coated and target loaded. You need that garlic to be released, and it's allicin, which is its property, its active property in the cecum of the gut in order for it to be released in the bloodstream. And this is the only garlic that I'm aware of that has all 5 families of the allium family and makes that amazing allicin, which is that therapeutic concentrated potency that your body then can reduce inflammation and help fight everything from irregular cell reproduction to pressures in the blood, regulation to colds, flus, viruses, anything that's attacking your immune system. Garlic is amazing. And our garlic does all of that. It's 4,200 micrograms of active allicin. Enteric coated, target delivery. Awesome, amazing. And then vitamin C. Vitamin C is an antioxidant that also helps because it's a water soluble nutrient. It also helps in an anti-inflammatory. So it helps vitamin E. They work together as a pair, vitamin C, vitamin E. And we were the first company to actually introduce a human whole food vitamin C. Oh, what a novel thought that vitamin C shouldn't come from a genetically modified corn out of China, like 99% of everybody else's. It should actually come from a citrus food that's been juice extracted with the entire family of flavonoids. Really, what a genius idea. Well, we did it. Exclusive Neoplex concentrate. Not only that, it's target delivery and it's threshold release, meaning that it stays on its job for 8 solid hours, hitting your cells with a dose of C, a dose of C. Come see, here's a dose of C. Quite amazing. That's our Super C target delivery. Zinc, I love zinc because zinc plays an amazing part in the body of anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, and it also plays an amazing part in brain health and gut health. So, oh my goodness, zinc plays a major part. And I love our zinc because it's not galvanized metal from China. It's crushed parsley, organic parsley, and it's quite amazing. Supports your immune system, cell proliferation, and wound healing, promotes antioxidant enzyme function. Your lining of your stomach needs zinc. You don't need a lot of zinc. You don't need to take a whole bottle of zinc. 1 to 2 zinc a day is all you need. If you're a male, you need more because for your prostate protection. And if you're a teenager or going into puberty, you need more for brain and for future progeny, sperm count and sperm health. So because you need zinc to manufacture sperm. And so zinc does amazing things and it supports your overall body system to reduce inflammation. So based in nature, backed by science. So we have gone over a lot of information here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Are there any questions in the house before I log off?
How do you restore cartilage?
Restoring cartilage, salmon oil, lots of minerals, full motion. And you have to have your 22 amino acids for your protein. And we have testimonies about restoring cartilage because that's what makes collagen is vitamin C and amino acids. But remember when I showed you the full motion? Maybe I'll do a whole class on full motion. Because of the ingredient list in full motion, it's quite amazing. I just focused on the boswellia here tonight because of the pain anti-inflammatory of it, but it's got glucosamine, chondroitin in it, which actually goes in and rebuilds cartilage. So exercise, keeping mobile, keeping fluid. At the same time, you may need a lot of salmon oil and multimin and some CalMag and full motion. More than just what says on the bottle. Here's a rule of thumb, is if you are diagnosed with something, you need to go at least 3 times the label until you're out of the diagnosis. Does that make sense? Until your body has filled the gap, filled the pothole, and then you can run your body over the road without popping a tire. Does that make sense? So on salmon oil bottle, it says 3. So how many is that going to be if you triple that? Test your math, 3, 6, 9. On full motion, Deborah can give you testimony after testimony about full motion, salmon oil. As a matter of fact, Deborah, come on up here, hon. And I'm going to turn this around so we can see you. And let's see you on, let's go here. There we go. And come on up here, sweetheart. And stand in front here. You can stand back here. There we go. And share. Deborah's going to share her testimony. Salmon oil, full motion, inflammation. Okay, go ahead, hon.
Okay, so I have a diagnosis of arthritis, osteoporosis, and it's in my hands really bad and in my hips. So I drive school bus 25 years next month, and I have a whole panel of lights I have to operate on my left, and I have an air brake that I have to push and pop all day long. So I had pain so excruciating in my my left hand, I thought I was going to have to quit driving. And I counseled with Louis, and he asked me, how many salmon oil I was taking, how many full motion I was taking, how many glucose balance I was taking for the inflammation, and also the multi-min. But I had to jack up my my full motion because I was only taking 3 a day. So I had to take 3 a day, 3 times a day. And within just, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe, that area on my thumb, which is right here, all the pain subsided. So I have another area here that this joint on my thumb, it used to feel like somebody was taking a iron rod out of a fire and just jabbing it into my joint. And I was so painful, like if I even bumped my thumb or anything like that, it was so painful. I told my son I thought I was going to have to quit driving, and he bought me this little cushy thing for the air brake. It's like a little rubber thing to go around the air brake. So I was able to continue to drive, but it's really bad in that hand. But I don't know where I'd be. I know where I'd be without the salmon oil, the full motion, and the glucose balance, and the minerals, because minerals also heal body. I wouldn't be driving. I would have had to quit. And also I had a torn meniscus in my left knee. And I did that whole regimen for that. And I wore a brace probably about 3 months. And then I felt strong enough to take it off, and I haven't had it on since, and I've had no problems. And I'm even to the point where I can squat again with my knee.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great. And no surgery. I've had no surgery. Right. They did suggest surgery, and no surgery. So I speak kudos to these products, because like Levon said, if you're having a problem, you need to do a therapeutic dose. Just like when you used to go to the doctor and they give you a Z-Pack. A Z-Pack was 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. The same thing, therapeutic, mega doses, and back off when you find your comfort zone.
I
Thanks.
love that. Thank you so much.
Thank
Give me
you.
a hug. Woohoo. Awesome. Anybody else have a testimony or a comment or question real quick before we sign off? Unmute yourself for anybody in the room. Or yes, Brian.
And you had the picture of the aloe vera and digestive enzymes that was in a bottle.
Uh-huh.
I have these digestive enzymes in a pack. What is the difference?
That's a combination. That's a hydrochloric acid and the enzyme. So the question was, I had referred to the enzymes tonight, but we also have 2 formulas for digestion. One is hydrochloric acid, one is enzymes. So the enzymes actually help assist mainly the digestive process after it leaves the stomach for the large and for the small and the large intestines, for bloating, for constipation, for that sort of stuff. The hydrochloric acid,
That's the one in the bottom, right?
you can buy both in the bottle. You can
Yeah,
buy the
oh,
beta
yeah.
just in a bottle or the enzymes in a bottle, or you can buy both in a pack called the combination.
Okay, so what's in the package is a combination. of
It's
both.
the combination of both.
Okay, I got it.
And then the beta just is going to address increasing the hydrochloric acid. It also has a bit of the enzymes in it too. And it's going to address acid reflux, burping, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, very good questions. Awesome. Anybody else? Yes, Deborah. Hold on a second.
I just want to know about that, more about that. How much do you do?
There is no limit on magnesium. Ours is from the human food chain, so take it till you get diarrhea. That's your signal to back off. Yes, Ruthie.
I think you started to talk about the hydrochloric acid and I didn't get that. I'm sorry. Like what? I
Yes.
know what you talked about the enzymes, but I didn't write down what that benefit.
The hydrochloric acid helps to raise the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, because the hydrochloric acid in the stomach needs to be a 2.5 pH or less before your little sphincter valve right here shuts. If the sphincter valve doesn't shut, it's a sign the pH is, there's not enough hydrochloric acid to bring the pH down. That means you're going to have esophageal issues. You're going to have acid reflux. You're going to have, it just amazes me. I get the calls almost every day of somebody that's let it go on and on and gone and on and on, to where it actually will destroy the valve. And then they have to sleep sitting up because there's no valve that even shuts anymore because the acid ate the tissue of the valve.
What is the name of the valve again, please? Say it again.
It's a sphincter.
Sphincter.
Sphincter valve. And so the hydrochloric acid keeps those levels properly, because if they're out of balance, if it's too high of a pH, you won't be able to digest food. You get gastric paresis. If you don't digest the food, then bacteria from the food stays in the stomach longer, causing ulcers. H. pylori. H. pylori is caused from a deficiency in hydrochloric acid. So every time somebody travels, I tell them, do not travel without that pack of enzymes. Do not travel without this pack of enzymes. Take this enzyme right here with you when you travel, because I have gotten H. pylori when I was traveling, and it is not fun. And I did a call this week with somebody that's traveling and has H. pylori. And so I noticed she's posting on Facebook her regiment that she's taking now. But the two dark ones are the hydrochloric acid,
And the packet's called, what is that?
betazyme.
Beta-zyme.
Yes, and the three pink are the enzymes. Mhm.
Really important too, because I don't have a gallbladder. I
Yes.
Take that every time I eat.
Yes.
Because you don't produce the bile. to help
Yes.
Oh,
With
they
the
taste good too. I like the way they taste.
The enzymes, yes. Chrissy, I don't know if she's on tonight, but Chrissy down in Naples, I gave her a digestive enzyme pack before our meal down in Naples for lunch, and she put it on her tongue, says, "What is this? Here's my credit card, sign me up. I am feeling the life." And she now is a director down in Naples. But you can taste the peppermint. You can taste the real living foods that are in our products. It's quite amazing.
You can use this valve as a good argument. I have a.
Yes,
nephew-
hold on, Brian. We got people on,
That
and I'm also recording. So I wanted them to hear you and see.
valve is such a good way to argue. Like I said, I have a nephew who's an atheist. And I said, how do you explain the fact that we have a valve that, you know, allows the food to go down, but it keeps it from coming back up. You're gonna tell me that evolution created that for us? Think about it, you know? And, you know, I think it's a good argument, you know? It looks like it was put there by a designer, okay?
Absolutely.
So,
Every valve in your body was put there by
yeah,
design.
there's.
That's so amazing.
But, I use.
Just
it-
imagine one little valve missing.
You never know, it could win a soul.
Ah, it's like an engine. You know, you got a valve missing. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody else?
Gonna be knocking.
Yeah, you're gonna be knocking. Yes, you're gonna be knocking on, not on heaven's door. All right, if you don't believe in that, well, anybody on the Zoom that wants to unmute and ask a question, make a comment, or give a testimony, unmute yourself. All righty, thank you so much, you guys. You're awesome, amazing. Thank you so much for tonight's class, inflammation, how to reduce it, how to help your body stay in balance, keep it checked, take down the antagonizer, and reinforce the body. All right, so we'll see you every Thursday, except for the Thursdays that I won't have a class now, which means I will be out of town. And there will be some Thursdays this month that I will be out of town. Unless someone in this room wants to take the class. Miss Deborah?
I can take the class.
Deborah!
Have a field trip, I'll take it. I mean, if I get called for a field trip, I won't be able to do it, but
Okay,
definitely.
okay, all right. Well, we will keep you notified and
We'll
in
put it
tune.
as a yes, and if anything changes. then
All right,
we'll
because
do
I
it.
do have some classes that I'll be taking and are doing up in Georgia. I'm going to actually actions apps, not summary. No. Apps, reactions, Marie. Okay, I am looking for how to stop my recording right here. How about that?